The Curry deck is a full-on anime-exclusive archetype that has yet to be adapted at all into the real-life game. Maybe Konami forgot about it the way everyone in the show forgot about the guy who ran it. You know, this guy, the head of Ra Yell. Used by Kabayama against Kenzan, aka Hassleberry, this is a fun little duel that always leaves me craving for curry. Unfortunately, all I can make with carrots, potatoes, and onions is a wacky Yu-Gi-Oh deck. The premise for this deck is adapting it straight from the anime. You have a trio of vegetables that when banished can trigger the curry pot, giving rise to the head chef. Along the way are a lineup of spice cards that support your ingredients, your chef, and your curry. The three recipe monsters are Carrot Man, Onion Man, and Potato Man. They all have an effect that triggers when you activate a spice spell or trap, and they all float on destruction into one of the other three. Carrot Man on destruction gets you Onion Man from the deck, and if you activate a spice card, lets you add a different one from the deck. Onion Man floats into Potato Man, and if you activate a spice card, lets you negate a monster's effects on the field. Imagine a monster cutting into the onion, and now that it has tears in its eyes, it can't use its effects. You see, I really do think things through sometimes. And then Potato Man floats into Carrot Man, and if you activate a spice card, can pop a spell or trap on the field. The boss is Curry Fiend Rue, who must be summoned by Curry Pot. You can also discard him to search for Curry Pot from the deck. I had to play around with the attack boost factors to see what worked best, and where I landed was 500 for every banished monster, and 400 for every spice spell or trap in your grave. The spell lineup starts with Curry Pot. On activation, you can banish one Carrot Man, Potato Man, and Onion Man from your face-up field and or grave to special summon one Curry Fiend Rue from your hand, deck, or grave. Then you can banish one monster on the field. And while you control Rue, any monster sent to the grave is banished instead, powering up your Curry Fiend Rue the more monsters that are banished. Then come the spice cards, starting with Mixed Spice Garam Masala. Shout out to Augusto Azul for the inspiration of this card's effect, found him on Reddit. You can banish 3 cards from your extra deck face down, then excavate the top 3 cards of your deck. Any spice cards get added to your hand, any plant monsters get sent to the grave, and the rest go on the bottom of your deck in any order. Spell Spice Caraway burns your opponent for 200 times the number of plants in your grave, then you gain the same amount. It also has a grave effect where if Curry Fiend Rue would be destroyed by battle or effect, you can banish this card from your grave instead. So you'll lower his attack by doing so, but in return you'll be able to keep him on the board. Spell Spice Cinnamon changes the battle positions of all face-up monsters on the field, and if you do, their battle positions cannot be changed except by card effect until the end of your opponent's turn. Also has a grave effect where if Curry Fiend Rue would be banished or returned to the hand or deck, you can banish this card from your grave instead. So again, trading in that 400 attack to be able to keep him on board. Spell Spice Red Pepper grants one of your monsters 200 attack for each plant monster in your grave, then reduces an opponent's monster by the same amount, and then like the others has a grave effect where if Curry Pot would leave the field, you can banish this card from your grave instead. And finally, Counter Spice Cumin, which you can trigger if a plant monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card either by battle or effect. You can just summon a level 4 or lower plant from your deck, then pop a card your opponent controls. And then likewise, a grave effect where if a card or effect targets Curry Fiend Rue, you can banish this card from your grave to negate that effect. Alright, now to demonstrate what we got with the Curry deck. Now, keep in mind that this deck is very much a fun deck. That isn't to say that the other decks I designed aren't fun, but it's just a euphemism for the fact that this is probably one of the less competitive decks that I designed, but still very fun to play. So I won't be able to demonstrate everything in like one turn. This deck does require some setup to make it go. We summon Onion Man. We can use Mixed Spice Garam Masala to banish 3 cards of our choice from the extra deck. I don't have anything loaded up in my extra deck at the moment, but let's say I do. I banish 3 face down, excavate the top 3 cards of the deck, and then on a plant monster will be sent to the grave. So there goes our Titanial. Any spice cards that we had revealed would have been added to our hand, but we didn't get any, so the rest go to the bottom of the deck in any order. Activate Fragrance Storm. This works very well with the Onion Man, Carrot Man, Potato Man because it destroys a plant monster on the field. Then we draw a card, and then if it's a plant monster that we drew, which we did, we get to draw another card. And then since Onion Man is destroyed, it triggers its effect to special summon Potato Man from our deck. Now, like I said, this deck isn't able to go into like some giant combo. If our opponent has something that we could ram our Potato Man into, then we would be able to do that to get to Carrot Man. But otherwise, let's say that at some point Potato Man is destroyed. We'll pitch Curry Fiend Rue to add Curry Pot from our deck to our hand, and then when Potato Man is destroyed, we'll get our last piece that we need, our Carrot Man, which will then allow us to activate Curry Pot, banishing the Carrot Man, Potato Man, and Onion Man from our face-up field and our graveyard to bring out Curry Fiend Rue from our hand, deck, or grave. So Curry Fiend Rue will gain 500 attack times the number of banished monsters and 400 attack times the number of spice spells and trapped in our grave. So before we count that up, let's use these other two that are currently in our hand. We'll use spice spell Caraway to inflict 200 damage to our opponent for every plant monster in our grave. Then we gain that same amount, so that's just going to be 200. And then we have spell Spice Cinnamon. Let's pretend that we summoned Curry Fiend Rue in defense, so then we can use spell Spice Cinnamon to flip it to attack, while any other monster will also change positions. And now let's count the number of spices in our grave and the monsters that are banished, and that'll put Curry Fiend Rue up to 2700 attack. Also, thanks to the graveyard effects of our spices, we have some protection built in. So thanks to spell Spice Cinnamon, if a Curry Fiend Rue we control would be banished or returned to the hand or deck, we can banish this card from the grave instead. And similarly, if Curry Fiend Rue would be destroyed by battle or card effect, we can banish spell Spice Caraway from our graveyard instead. So that is a little quick demonstration of how the Curry deck is intended to work, the different interactions that it has with the various plant support that already exists. You have cards like Lone Fire Blossom, which will be able to funnel you through your different ingredients. You have cards like the one that I showed, Fragrant Storm, which allows you to trigger off your destruction floating effects of your vegetables to be able to pile up your grave to whip up that heaping pot of curry. So that does it for the Curry deck. Hope you enjoyed, and be sure to like and subscribe for 2 weeks from now. If you thought the characters forgetting about Kabayama was bad, next week we're remembering the character the writers forgot about.